Hey everyone, we throw around the word culture all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? Well, today we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to look at a super powerful framework from a major thinker in anthropology. So what is it? I mean, is it just, food, flags, festivals? Is it the art, the music, the traditions we have? It kind of feels like all of those things, but here's the thing. Just making a list of stuff, it doesn't really get to the heart of it. We're about to dive into a definition that's way more powerful and honestly, way more useful. And the person who's going to be our guide through all this is a Spanish psychologist and anthropologist named Ángel Aguirre Baztán. This guy spent his entire career obsessed with this one question, and trust me, his work gives us an incredibly clear answer. Okay, so why should we listen to this guy, Baztán? Well, for one, his credentials are just rock solid. I'm talking a PhD in philosophy and another one in psychology. Plus, he was a professor at the University of Barcelona for almost 40 years. This was his life's work, really digging in to understand human societies from the inside. And his impact, it's huge. We're talking over 130 scientific publications. That's not just a few articles here and there. It's everything from essential textbooks to really groundbreaking research. A body of work that size, well, it tells you just how influential he really was. But here's what's really cool. He wasn't just writing a lot. His work was incredibly broad. His research basically stands on these four big pillars. You've got cultural anthropology, which is the big one, but then he connects it to cultural identity, organizational culture, like in a company, and even the psychology behind it all. He was really connecting the dots, He saw the whole big picture. All right, so let's get into his ideas. How did Baztán start to tackle this massive concept of culture? Well, he began by making a really important distinction. He basically split the whole thing into two different but totally related ideas. So he splits it in two. On one hand, you've got subjective culture. Think of this as the internal stuff. It's about you, the individual. It's the cultivation or the education of your own mind through everything you learn and experience. Then, on the other hand, you have objective culture. This is the external stuff you can see and touch, a society's art, its laws, its big institutions. So you can think of it like this. It's your personal growth versus the whole society's collective achievement. But Baztán knew this two-part view wasn't the final answer. It was a good start, but it wasn't enough. So he pushed further to create this really powerful, unified theory. And here's the key. For him, culture wasn't just a list of things. No. It was a dynamic, living, functional system. And this right here, this is the absolute heart of his big idea. He says culture is a system of knowledge that provides us with a model of reality through which we give meaning to our behavior. I mean, let that sink in. It's like an operating system for our brains. It's the software that gives meaning to everything we do. So it's not the actual food on the table. It's the system that tells you why you eat that food with those people at that specific time. It is the why behind everything. Okay, a system of knowledge. That sounds pretty academic, right? But what does it actually do? Like, in the real world? What are the actual jobs of this system in our daily lives? Well, don't worry, Baztán breaks it all down for us. Okay, so according to Baztán, this system has four really essential jobs. First, it's not made up by just one person, it's generated and shared by the whole group. Second, that sharing is exactly what identifies the group. It creates that sense of us. Third, it has to be transmitted to new members, to kids, to newcomers. If it's not passed on, it just dies out. And fourth, and this is maybe the most important part, it has to actually work. The system has to effectively solve the group's problems, everything from how to get food to how to get along, so the group can actually survive and hopefully thrive. So you can see this isn't just some abstract theory for a textbook, right? Baztán's definition has some pretty deep implications for how you and I understand ourselves and the world around us. So let's bring it down from the clouds and into our actual everyday lives. Because when you get right down to it, what Baztán is telling us is that culture isn't just something we have, it's something we use. It's the shared lens we look through to make sense of everything. It's the map we use to get around in social situations and the toolkit we pull out to solve problems. Think about it. Your culture gives you a model for what family is or what success looks like, and that model shapes your biggest life choices, a lot of the time without you even noticing. It literally is our shared model of reality. And that brings us to a final, pretty powerful question I want to leave you with. Just think for a second about the groups you belong to, your family, the place you work, your country. If Baztán is right, their cultures exist for a reason. because they solve problems. So, what problems does your cultural system solve for you? That's something to chew on.